What's been going on with you guys, huh? What's happening over here?
Nothing, man. We're just trying to function.
Whose weed is that?
That's your weed. We only buy weed from you, baby.
You think I don't know what my weed looks like? Man, what is going on here?
Carl, we have needs, right? And you, frankly, we're not meeting those needs.
So you went to a stranger for your weed?
No, we went to a stranger for grass. We're calling it grass now.
Grass? What the heck are you talking? What is he even talking about?
It was just once, Carl. Didn't mean anything.
Were they better than me?
Not better. Just different.
Nope. She's better. She's way better. You know why? Because she opened my eyes to a world of weed that I never even knew about, with gadgets and gizmos and edibles.
Edibles? What is that?
Oh, don't play dumb. It means like pot brownies.
Pot brownies? No, brownies are made out of fudge, Blake. Come on, you know that.
Well, maybe that's part of the problem, Carl. You have to think of that, man.
You guys are acting crazy right now. You're all acting insane. You're smoking brownies and you're eating weed?
It's called grass now.
Oh, you want to yell at you?
Don't do this, Carl!
You did this!
Ahoy, tent pirates, plant parents, conscious consumers, and the morbidly curious. Welcome to Cultivation Conversation, a podcast for growers by growers. Come chat with our hosts, Captain Autoflower, the Real Green Monster, and myself, Girl Go Grow. Grab a bouquet of your favorite flowers, apparatus of choice, and don't forget the fire while I tell you about the special companies that help keep this ship afloat. We are busy people, and we demand the best for our plants, so all three of us automate our grows with Autopots. Available in over 63 countries, gravity-powered Autopot systems rely on no pumps, no timers, and no power to operate. This plant-driven automated watering is so precise, it will reduce consumption of feed while increasing yield. An effective and efficient way to delegate a little responsibility. Let your plants feed themselves. Use code CC10 at autopot-usa.com. If quality is the name of your game, look no further than AC Infinity. AC Infinity's grow tents, lights, accessories, and ventilation systems offer reliability and affordability along with total environmental control. Use code CULTIVATION on acinfinity.com to save even more. Frass Valley produces the highest quality superworm frass. Naturally strengthen your plants and enhance their resistance to pests and disease. Use code CC10 at frassvalley.com. We are big fans of Mass Hydroponics. Whether you're a local in Massachusetts or accessing their full online catalog, they are your one-stop shop for all of your growing needs. Use code CC10 at mass-hydro.com.
Hello. I was muted. Sorry, guys. What is going on, everybody out there in podcast land? How are you tonight?
Hello, my darlings.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Tuesday. It's going to be one of those shows, huh?
It is.
Made it
What up? What up? We have Heston Alcorn, a.k.a. Floro Farm, with us tonight. How are you, my dude?
Excellent. Very well. Thank you for having me.
Dude, thanks for joining us. First question right off the bat, man. What are you smoking on, if anything, tonight? Got anything good?
Yeah, I've actually got this the White Widow from my most recent harvest. Been kind of on a old school kick lately, and man, this checks all the right boxes. It's got that nice old school. Somebody opened a jar in the room, and everybody kind of turns their head and tries to find where it came from. Smell to it.
I love it. You know what? I I kind of have been on an old school little kick myself lately, just thinking wise and just, I don't know, cannabis in general, man. We could talk all about it. That's cool. And we will talk all about it.
Let's do
Over
it.
here.
what do you got, G3? Anything?
Make a smile.
Oh, okay, of course.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like
mango
almost the
smiles.
last of it. Yeah, almost the last. It's my absolute favorite ever. And I won't have any after this until the double smile comes down. Hopefully, she'll be
no.
close. We'll see.
Those are always some of the saddest bowls, but also most rewarding. The last one to go.
Heartbreaking. I save them for you guys.
Well, I'm glad to hear you still have some Monster. Just to let you know, you are muted, man.
Oh, I know. I was just waiting for my turn.
Oh, all right.
I got a lot of background noise over here tonight.
All right.
He's over there buzzing,
coughing and buzzing. His Dr. Dabbers.
Yeah, I'm just getting over a cold too,
noise.
so I have all sorts of little
all right
coughs and shit.
Hey, I appreciate the thinking of us. Appreciate it. But what do you got, man?
I'm smoking on some cherry smash hash rosin. Well, keef rosin.
Rosin in the Dr. Dabber.
In the Dr. Dabber, baby.
Cool.
Nice. Yep.
Cool. Well, man, tonight I'm switching it up. I got a little cone, maybe a big cone. I don't know, by some people's standards.
I think the only standards that would be a big cone is Howling, because he rolls like the
little pinners,
the little fucking like 2-hit or quitter cones. They're cute. It's the only time I would use that adjective.
Mini cones. I call them those dog walkers.
Nah, these ain't dog
They're
walkers.
Smaller than dog walkers.
No. All right, so like a.
It's funny too because he always like posts a picture. He's like about to smoke a fatty, and he knows it's like it's just like the tiniest little thing, and he fucking posts it. It always makes me laugh because that's all he needs. A couple toots and he's good.
Yeah, nice.
I was gonna say catwalker, but that doesn't make sense, right? I was gonna say catwalk, then I was maybe cat box cleaner. I don't know.
Have you ever put Casper on a leash?
Long.
You definitely could.
I have. He's just like he'll just like lay down. He's not into it.
Yeah, so, that or like twist himself up.
Yeah. Catwalkers.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
I've seen people do it. I've seen it. But yeah, this is that hash skunk from 2020.
Oh, how was that?
I love it, man. I've been really digging this. Like, talk old school terps, flavor, effects. It's got all that, which I really think like they're one of the breeders that I've just been kind of going through their catalog, like, just rereading kind of everything. And it's just like, I don't know, it stands out amongst a sea of endless cookies, varieties, dessert flavors. You're just like, yeah, these are different,
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job down there. They're doing it right.
Well, that's what's up, man. Is the White Widow you got from them or someone else?
That's it's from Old School Chronic Jr. That was one of his. I got the Super Silver Haze BX4 from him going right now as well.
Man,
another kind of old.
How many weeks does that flower?
He said 11.
Yeah, most of those are like 11, 12 weeks.
Yeah, I believe that.
I haven't grown Super Silver Haze in a long time, but it was like 11, 12 even maybe.
Man, interesting. Now that's one of the things I would say is like an indicator of whether or not you're dealing with like some true old school stuff. Flowering time being way higher than 8 weeks. I mean, if it's got cookies crossed into it, it's going to be an 8-weeker. Right.
Yeah, no, it's one of the other more rewarding things being able to have the time to take strains that take that long to finish flowering is. I think that's really what like exotic and the unique, and like there's just not many people willing to dedicate that much time to flowering one plant. So those are the truly like rare experiences. If you find a really long flowering plant like that and just checks all the right boxes, man, that's the that's the holy grail almost, because you're not very likely to see it again unless you do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's true.
True
Now,
story.
I don't know if you can see like this joint. It's already got
Nice.
that nice ring.
Was that an autoflower as well?
Greasy. Yes, it was actually. Yeah. This was like they're still doing R&D on it, so it's not like available yet. But I told them like put this one on the fast track. Like I really really like it.
Nice.
It's got. I know G3's waiting for it. She's waiting for me to say the word, what it smells and tastes like.
Go ahead.
It smells like pussy.
Oh, this is the one.
Smells like pussy and tastes more like it has a skunkiness. Like, the name implied like I was getting skunk.
Generally you don't want those two together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. It's like some truck stop pussy.
A lot
bad kind.
Come on, man.
In the summertime heat.
Oh my God. Just stop.
Make a stop out by Atlanta.
Very, very specific fragrance there.
So let me just say it's funky and it's nasty and it's like it lingers. It has put all those together. I mean, it kind of fits and it's in the most enjoyable way possible. And it implied skunk. Mm-hmm. So like that's what really perked my ears up. I guess I'm one of those people that like I'm kind of on that search, right, for the smoke I remember from back.
No, definitely. I think that's like a lot of people are to that point right now. It's making a big comeback. But I had just had Dosey Derb from Savage Seeds here in Oregon was like that. Like week 5 through 7 was just this nasty, rancid, like hot trash juice is the way I describe it. Just like like the garden, just like the garbage disposable kind of stink
hot
to it.
Trash juice, man.
It really did. It really did, and I was kind of like dreading consuming it. And then like the last 5 or 6 days, it really totally went through another transformation and mellowed out a bit. It still has kind of a funky, gnarly smell, but it's much more subtle now. And it was just one of those like, you grow in skunk and you want to walk in the room and be like, ooh, and smell again, and ooh, like
I want to be
more,
a little grossed out. Not gonna lie.
That, and then man, I haven't smelled any really busted open a nug and that blue cheese, rotten cheese smell like for some of the UK cheese years ago. I have a nose for that. I like funky cheese.
Oh yeah,
of all kinds, whether it be cannabis or actual cheese to eat. But I haven't come across one of those like really kind of like rancid dairy cheese stink either.
It is a rare one. It's a really rare one. I mean, so I grew the one. I mean, it was an auto, So say what you will, it might not have been like an totally accurate representation of the UK cheese, but it was that Sour Livers from Mephisto, which did a lot of like back crossing to the Sour Livers cut from the UK, and dude, that one was funky in like a totally other way. Like more cheesy. Yeah, like
nice.
Definitely like a Limburger, you know what I mean? Like strong cheese. The kind that like makes you just want to walk away from the cheese man.
Yeah. No, I enjoy those. I enjoy those.
Me too. That's funny. Like I like a stinky cheese. My wife doesn't, but I'm a stinky cheese guy.
Yeah.
Maybe
funny, and I don't know if it's just like you said, the novelty or the cookies and all the sweet desserty stuff that we've had for the last 5 years. It's kind of nothing wrong with it. Just ready for the next, for another flavor.
Amen. And
I do have. Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
No, I've got a few cherry. Green Monster said that cherry rosin press he had. Or what was that? Cherry
smash.
Cherry smash. powered by cherries and another cherries cross I can't remember right now, and then a cherry wolf CBD going as well.
I'm a sucker for those cherry terps. You get them a lot actually with CBD. It seems like a lot of those lean that way for one reason or another. But yeah, I've had people tell me that like it's not like I like smoking because it doesn't get you super, retarded. I guess is the best way I could describe it. But it's a nice mellow buzz and it helps a lot with pain. I'm always injuring myself. I'm like fucking Tim the Toolman Taylor. I find a way to fuck myself up periodically every couple of months. So I'm always going through something, and I love it for pain relief. Definitely.
CBD flower?
No, just the cherry terps. Like anything.
Oh, the cherry. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Anything with cherry terps really seems
good for pain relief. Interesting.
Yeah. At least for me, anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Terps are just. You got to always have new stuff, I think is the bottom line. And like Flora Farm said, it's not that anything cookies is bad. It's just like, I don't know, I'm looking for a little bit more variety in my garden, a little more diversity, And
It's not
I've been
bad, it's just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, exactly.
Not bad at all. Like there, and I will I grow cookies again? Absolutely. Like there's I just harvested one the other day, that PB and Cray cross from Joint. Like, and that one might have been the heaviest of the bunch. I mean, just had that classic cookies golf ball structure. Literally not going to have to trim anything because it's just all calyxes on her,
You want to go back to something like that again at some point. Go away for it and come back. Variety is the spice of life.
Definitely. But
gonna get sick of even the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
You will.
That's why I love popping seeds so much. And people get hung up and running the same monocrop room after room after room and just doing it over again. Like, yeah, you're getting very comfortable with it, and you're dialing that particular cultivar in as perfect as you can get it. But if you're, I guess whatever you're doing it for dictates the outcome. I guess.
I would imagine people monocropping like that are doing it more for like selling it.
That's what I was getting at. It's like, I guess depending on your end goal. For me, it's just as many different varieties as I can stuff in a room and keep them all different, which is a pain in the butt sometimes when everyone's wants different amounts of food and water and responds differently. And these freaking landrace are just little drama queens. I've found out they don't want any intense light, no feeding at all, just like very minimalist plants. And I don't know if that's from being not ever grown indoor under lamps. And I've heard that, that is kind of a thing. I'm not familiar with it enough to know if it has any truth to it or not, but taking the strains that are bred indoors and never grown under the sun outside. Hang on one second.
Yeah, no worries, no sweat. No, that's interesting actually. I wonder what land races he has. I saw on
Sorry.
Yeah,
can't tell. You just got home. I had to check in.
What land races do you have going?
Yeah, so I got from northeast Brazil. It's called Cabeça de Negra, and then a couple from northern India as well, from the Huaychin Valley and the Nirang Valley. Selections. I don't know if you've seen the Pakistani Landrace Exchange or Indian Landrace Exchange guys. I bought a couple of books of theirs last year and got some of the seeds that they had selected while they're over there doing their freaking awesome journeys.
Wow.
So I got in that's again stepping back and going back to the old school, trying to find that 80s 90s
funk. Well, so that's like
kind of starting from scratch.
You're
basically looking at a couple of years down the road before I start to see results that I want to, but it's going to be, like I said, from landrace and being able to make the selections I think that are missing from a lot of the stuff we have now that have been selected, but based just for THC production. And I think we lost a lot of the other, secondary metabolites, a lot of the other resiliency of the plant that got selected out for high THC production. So I think that there's a lot to be said for, I hear the comments made all the time where, got higher smoking this shitty looking ditch weed from the early 90s than you do get now. And the THC content is obviously almost exponentially higher than it now than it was then, but that's the only thing that has increased. That we've lost everything else. So I think it goes to the entourage effect, and what are we missing from that total experience? Not just like how much THC, like how high can I get, how fast, how stoned can I get?
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here, man. We talk about this shit all the time. It's
we need
so
to
many
hear
different.
It again, though.
No. I'm just saying. It's like it's good to hear.
You're on the same page. Good.
Yeah,
it's refreshing to hear from other people. Because it's not just THC, man. It's like, please, like educate yourself. Every time I go into a dispo, which isn't often, but every time I can guarantee I'm going to hear at least 3 people when they're asked what they want. Well, which one has the highest THC? I swear to fucking God, it's every time.
That's the response, dude, because they view it like alcohol, like ABV. Like this. And it's with alcohol. It is like a linear. Like if it has alcohol, more effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
It's so insulting.
Not like that.
But I mean, like you're gonna get different, more subtle like flavors and stuff too with alcohol that that you may find more enjoyable than others. Like you might like the sour, bitter beers, IPAs. Other people might not. So, but you're right. Alcohol is definitely more linear. The higher the alcohol content, the more fucked up you're gonna get. So
yeah,
makes sense.
I guess that's the thinking behind it. I don't know. I mean,
I think ridiculous. It's like sitting down at a delicious meal, okay? Like the most amazing meal of your life, and then going, it'll make you really full. But you're missing the entire point.
Mm-hmm. The point's to taste, to enjoy, to
experience, to elevate. Yes.
Yeah, no, and that's all just marketing from the bigger production is that high THC for as cheap as they can make it, and it's catching on. And you see places like Colorado and Washington have had some of the oldest medical markets, now recreational markets in the country, and they still have there's like basically a huge gap. There's not many middle farms. There's either like the super small batch bougie, craft producers that are still getting a pretty good price per pound, and then there's the mass produced MSO owned kind of style. But I think that as the consumer becomes more educated, and they're going to want to have more of an experience than the highest THC for the $35 ounce special for the high THC, they're going to start to demand a better experience. And then I think that's really the only thing that's going to control the market in the long run is like consumer education and home growers. I mean, God, that's huge in home growers because it's run into the same problem. People just want to run cuttings of the super hype strains that are going to produce this high THC stuff, which is fine. And I think that it's like a natural cycle to go through for everyone. I did it myself, and people will find that balance and find like what really worked for them, what they enjoy consuming, and then go more towards that than like the latest and greatest necessarily. But it just takes time and people that care about the plant that are willing to teach other people that there's more to it than the THC numbers. And
right on, dude. I mean, everyone's got their own journey with it, but that is one of the beauties of growing your own is you are able to experience everything the plant has to offer, not just the flavors in your local dispo. I mean, it's that's why we love doing this show, kind of new grower education, but it's also like it's outreach, community stuff like that. I don't know, man.
It's definitely we need more of that instead of the everybody's better than everybody else, cutthroat, backstabbing nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
that's how the whole industry is, man. It's crazy.
Ultimately, dude, like it comes down to what are you growing for? Like, what's your motive? Okay, like like we talk about cutthroat. Everyone like the breeder drama, like all this stuff, dude. That whole world is for people like with money at stake. I get that. Like they got a lot of money at stake in legal land, like with big operations, like you're growing as much weight as you can, because I mean, there's going to be loss involved. Like you want to make your money and then some. It's just like, I get all the pressures on like a big, not even MSO, but like
just
any,
a
any
big
licensed
business to business.
facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you
You got
have
employees to take care of and bills to pay, and you got to
Yeah.
look at the production costs and
Yeah.
figure out a way to make money. I get it.
You have
But
overhead, and it's driven by making money. Whereas, like, you know, I'm just supplying my own medicine to not have to go to the dispensary. Like that's my motive. It really makes it a lot more simple, I know, but like, I don't know, it opens it up. So
Yeah.
Well,
They're doing it to make money, and we're doing it to avoid them.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's so
Well, it's just
true.
like people say, you know, I'm in the industry, in the cannabis industry, and I think that's like pretty much sums it up. What's wrong with it is an industry now. It's this big machine that is, you know, bottom dollar is what it is. It's just like any other industry. And, you know, like in the 90s or even further back, people that grew were these super close knit communities that had to have this incredible level of trust to be able to talk about this. That's not, you know, it's not something that you could get online and order seeds comfortably and look up information that we have now. So it wasn't, nobody ever referred to it as the cannabis industry back then. I never heard that term, you know, even through the early 2000s. And this is like, that's a modern term that's been applied to the plant to try to, you know, to try to make it another commodity to be traded, where it's not. It's still, we need to hold on to that, the idea of the cannabis community versus the cannabis industry, because there really is two separate entities there. It's the community that still does things like this and tries to reach out and help each other and spread the love of the plant and then there's the exact opposite side of the coin. The industry just consumes and produces and shoots for the profit. So I think it's very telling when somebody's like brags about opening their new facility in the industry. And I've been in the industry for 3 years now and making a killing. And I was like, well, I can tell what quality cannabis you produce right off the bat, and it's not good.
I mean, you're so well spoken, honestly. Like, and dude, it's again great to hear kind of similar thoughts from different perspective, and like someone who's just coming from a different life experience too. Like, it's cool. Now, what about, I don't know, like, what is it? Just the pressures of you know, making money and being licensed and that whole thing? Like, what makes the quality go down? Like, why can't people at scale grow as well as a 10?
Yeah, no, it's the bottom dollar, because in the markets, you know, like Oregon, I just took a trip back to Oklahoma, and they're like, you know, $200 or $300 a pound for indoor grown right now because it's so flooded. So it's not that the farms aren't owned by people who are super passionate about trying to produce a quality product, but then the unlimited licensing and unlimited canopy space that they're given the mega farms, they can produce a lot of very low quality product that they can sell very cheaply. And then that just drives the price down to a point where the businesses who care and want to do the right thing are just, it's impossible for them to exist in that market. They can't hire the help they need to go and manually do some IPM protocols that they could do some automated, synthetic spraying with, maybe just, labor cost, cutting labor costs. And then they can soak up things like labor costs lots easier with the large farms that are investor owned and can have contingencies for payroll and large scale things like that, where they're still paying, minimum wage and not offering any kind of health care. So they're cutting all the corners that they can to produce this product that tests decent, but they're using cheap synthetic inputs and selling it for nothing. And then, like, I've watched it happen here in Oregon, but their business model is they don't have to do that indefinitely. So they have the financing to operate on minimal gain or even at a loss for 2 years, so they can drive out the majority of the competition. Myself, we moved out here to get a commercial license, a micro tier license, and it would have been just my brother and sister and I, family bootstrap style. And we got here in the moratorium, didn't get our OLCC production license. That's like a whole nother thing, but we kind of dodged the bullet. Thankfully, it would have been a bad timing in the market. But a farm of our size, operating by paycheck to paycheck household, we wouldn't have been able to exist or to operate at a loss for any amount of time and stay in business. So they can drive the prices down even temporarily, 6-8 months, 2 seasons worth of harvest that you can minimize the price on, and then after all these businesses cut down, you have no competition. You can raise your price back up to a more profitable range, and that's just kind of the industry mentality of it. That's how the corn, people, the monopolies develop, and on those things is you outproduce and outlast, and then you control the market, and then you can dictate the price. So,
well, it's sad to see, like you said, the same, like with corn, seeing the same thing kind of happen on even a faster time scale with cannabis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the MSO, and it's a lot of the burden lays on the state legislatures for allowing the out of state, the unlimited out of state investors. I mean, that opened it wide up for chaos. And then like in Oklahoma, I mean, my gosh, they have more dispensaries in Tulsa than in the state of Oregon. I just read a thing. It's like blows my mind. Their market's like 1.5 years old, I think, 2 years old, and they
flooded.
I think you're starting to see a turn, though, and if you're paying attention to the market, a lot of these MSOs, like you said, they can operate at a loss for so long, but that doesn't last, and a lot of them are already starting to drop like flies. People are wanting product with better quality. People are getting educated and wanting more from these fucking dispos. So you're starting to see it slowly happen. Like a lot of these MSOs, they can literally sell flower at a loss just to keep their canopy space.
Yeah.
You can only do that for so long and stay in business. So I mean, these booth factories, they're not going to last.
They're falling. Yeah,
I don't see them lasting.
No. It's a get rich. They make their money 2 or 3 years in the state, and then they move on to the next state. It's like the plague of locusts, following the medical legalization around the country.
Oh, that's so true. All right, you guys know who Box Brown is?
Box Brown,
not familiar.
Ever hear of him? All right, so you got to learn today, right? He's I think he's a Philly-based artist who he does like cannabis content. And it's really funny. And actually, like his most recent comic, very much like what we're talking about. I'll bring it up real quick. All right. Monster, could you get rid of that brand for me real quick? Thank you. For the audio listening audience at home, we will just we'll read it for you. It says New York City's unlicensed cannabis market has become a bit of a dog whistle. And they show the CEO of Cura Leaf, but it says Cura Beef. New York City is the real problem. Just the words New York City are enough to put the fear of God into mainstream America. Throw black market unregulated weed into the mix, and you have a powder keg that could blow at any minute. And like, mind you, it's, cleverly animated like a comic. Very cool. Many call for the city to kick doors down and round up these hardened criminals. While they're really not dangerous, they have certainly scooped up a lot of tourists' weed dollars. In this frame, the cops are breaking the door down. It says, "We will shoot your dog." Big problem. Mm-hmm. Elliot Lewis, founder and CEO of California's Catalyst Cannabis, has some compelling theories about the abysmal condition of the state's cannabis industry. The math doesn't add up. In California, there are some massive legal grows who are seemingly producing more weed than can possibly be sold on the legal California market. Since all of the weed is in the seed-to-sale system metric, it goes into a legal distributor, but then another distributor, and eventually a burner distributor that will distribute it out of state illegally. Now the grower has plausible deniability and can sell tons more wheat. The state can check this by comparing the right metric data, but so far has not. Companies can then use the cash to expand their canopies. They can legally buy from unlimited licenses from small businesses. Companies can also use the cash to lobby and buy influence in Sacramento in order to maintain this unhealthy status quo. Am I even reading the right fucking thing? God damn it. How does this work? All right, guys.
I think
we got the point.
All
I think
right,
we
we
got
get
the
it.
point. He's very clever, and he's on to the whole thing we're talking about, guys. If you're into markets and if you're into ripping on the legalized market, then we will just then look them up. But yeah, this is not podcast content. I'm sorry, guys. Fuck me.
Oh my God.
Let's go back to our awesome guest, Flora Farm. Okay. First time I heard of you, man. You won the Autoflower Cup like 2 years ago. Congrats.
Yeah.
By the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's kind of serendipitous.
Yeah. How'd that all go down? Tell me anything.
It was so yeah, I hadn't grown any autoflowers in quite some time. Lowrider was basically the first and last autoflower I'd grown. It was it was early on. I think probably 2009 or 10ish, I guess. When I grew that, and nothing impressive. So I hadn't grown one in quite a few years. I ordered some photoperiod seeds and got the autoflower as a freebie. And it was actually the first autoflower I'd grown in like 9 years, probably. And it finished great. It was much bigger than I had anticipated it being. Grew it in a 20 gallon organic soil fabric container, and finished it under a 315 watt ceramic metal halide. It was before I had switched over to LED, so I had vegged it under a 1,000 watt metal halide and finished it under a 315, which I love. I still absolutely love that. Wow. 315 is such a beautiful spectrum. But yeah, and it's kind of stumbled and just gotten back into Instagram basically at that point, and found the Autoflower Cup, and I had got it harvested and dried like a week before drop off deadline, and got it in last minute, and it worked out really, really, really nice. I definitely was getting into it because I was interested in autoflowers and thought that was kind of like an upcoming, it was going to be becoming more popular. I kind of wanted to find out more about it and thought it would be a cool way to go and meet some people in the industry. I just fucking said it, in the community, and go up there and chill. It's like this beautiful spot on the water, and this awesome little weekend. And my wife gave me permission to go, so I was like, just going to enjoy the company and the place and experience. I had no intention or anticipation of winning, and some really good growers got to sample a bunch of the flower, and I was lucky enough to gotten chosen for the best flower, and that kind of really opened the door as far as the people I met there, and I've had 200 followers on Instagram, and then after the cup I had 4,000 and change, and kind of within a few weeks of that, and it was really cool. And I got to meet a lot of awesome people, and have been consistently growing autoflowers since then. And
what strain was that you grew that won the cup? It
was Special Reserve Cookies number 3 from Brother Mendel. Cookie strain
cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was nice. It was almost 6 ounces I got off that plant. It was
nice, dude.
Pretty good size.
So I have I got a couple from him. I think it's Black Label cookies though.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, that's
right?
one.
That's the one he used for like a gnome cross, I think.
Pluto's Bride.
Okay.
I think maybe Pluto's Bride is him and Mendel. I think that's the one they used for that.
Cool.
But yeah, we had a falling out with Mendel after the cup, and don't really run his gear, or try not to mention his name, as It's
It's one of
possible anyway,
those.
so.
It's one of those he who shall not be named situations.
Yeah, unfortunately, but whatever. I've moved on.
Happens.
Yeah,
it happens, man. Well, I mean, that was the first introduction I had to you. I mean, so obviously you know a thing or two about autos. I think it's interesting you grew it under like a CMH and a metal halide, stuff like that. That's something.
Yeah, it was.
Not a lot of
I was
people.
really nervous about the LED switching over from LEDs. They'd always grown 1,000 watt HID bulb. So it was. I'm all about the LEDs now, though. They've come just as far as the autos. Another technology that just leaps and bounds what it was.
Yeah. What a cool time to be a grower.
Right. It's actually like a pretty good comparison. The autos and the LEDs, like the two things that are really like fast tracked.
Definitely.
I mean, development wise, we've seen so many innovations, and we're light years ahead of where we were 10 years ago in lighting and autoflower genetics.
I do feel like we're continuing to grow with autos. I feel like LEDs have hit a wall, though. I mean, they're all still using the same main chip, and just trying to reconfigure a spread of diodes and stuff like that is all that's really happening right now. But it's still fucking shit, man. Blurples, I mean, most people don't realize this. Blurples are actually less efficient than a high pressure sodium. So they're literally useless. Like, there's no point in fucking using them. Yeah, definitely come a long way.
The old school lights, I mean, like we're talking like old school. I mean, the old school lights did the fucking job. That weed
they
we
still
all
do.
remember.
If you want to pay for the overhead to run them, I still know people that run them, and they fucking love them.
I guess there's something you get from it that you can't recreate with LED. Like, I don't know what,
crazy electricity bill.
There you go. Could be.
Man, the only thing that I have thought about doing with an LED that I haven't figured out a way to do yet, that I love to do with like 600-watt HPS bare bulbs, is like hang them in a string of pearls vertical configuration and build a cylinder cage around it and grow plants from on the facing the inside of the light. And it may work. I've seen some of the overhead, like single beam style LED, like the greenhouse lights. They may be powerful enough to stack 6 of those in the center facing outward and try to do the same thing. But yeah, I don't miss dodging under 1,200 degree flesh melting bare bulbs trying to water through the garden. Like I said, the kids these days will never know the pain of burning part of your ear off on 1,000.
Oh, wow. Goddess, jeez.
LEDs can get hot, but not like that, man. Not like that. So what kind of LEDs are you running?
I just got hooked up with Grandmaster level LEDs. Actually running all his gear right now. I've got 2 different models in the room, the Tarantula long legs and Tarantula Vulcan. The Vulcan's like the quantum board style.
Dude, I'm jealous.
Oh man, I'm getting ready to I've got jealous. the Nitro and the Borg are on the way, and that's what I was going to say about the LEDs. I don't know. I'm not educated enough on them yet. That's like I'm diving into LEDs now. I'm trying to stoke up as much knowledge. And this the new lamp, the Tarantula Borg, it's like a 10 bar style, the bar style LED, but it has 10 bars, and it has like 65 preset spectrums, and then you can adjust it. Like there's basically every temperature is adjustable, so you can. What I'm going to first thing to do is tweak it so it mimics the spectral frequency of Brazil for the land race to see if it has any kind of bearing. So you can like tweak it to equatorial light, like northern, like north of 45 degree latitude spectrum enhancement. So you can like mimic basically sunlight from anywhere in the world.
Right. Does it have
like
adjustments? Does it? So it has like a panel. Are those preset, or do you have
65 preset? And then he said, I think you can do an additional 40. Like you can create an additional 40 unique ones of your own.
But
it basically comes like 65, and from my understanding, it's 65 like places around the world that he has linked up to it. So,
oh my gosh, so brilliant! It's brilliant.
I'm really looking forward to that.
It is,
and it has
cool.
And the next generation has the UV built into them. I want to say 95%, because the models I have now don't have UV, and that's like the only thing I miss, or I feel like I need. I want that in my LED lamps as well, because I think that the bulbs, they all had UV, and I think that may be just the only difference, really, with the frequency. But these new, the spectrum is going to be very, very adjustable and super specific. You can get it very specific with it, and then it has the sunrise and sunset with the far red. So that's like all of the little things that are usually have to do independently are going to be in this one lamp. So I'm really looking forward to it. I should have that hung here in the next few weeks.
Wow, man. So yeah, I have a different brand, optic LED, with like a controller where it can do independent white, blue, and red spectrum control, but like there's no like preset like light recipes. Like, to say like, all right, I want the light to look like somewhere in Brazil. Like, that's cool. I kind of have to make my own light recipes, I guess, which is why I say that term.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you actually go through the process of like finding out the spectrum intensities and everything, and the temperatures?
So like I would just have to guess. How could I do anything but guess?
Well, so I think it sounds like, is it a three channels then? The Amare lamp I was running before had 3 channels, and I had it set to change throughout the day. So in the morning you come on with a more blue spectrum, like mimic dawn, and then it goes to more red throughout the afternoon with like UV spikes in the middle of the afternoon, and then back to blue for a sunset, or maybe more red for a sunset. But yeah, just like you can even like transition the spectrums throughout the day, and then throughout the season for fall to transition to flower. So that's like a whole nother, so much to learn. There's like that, like a whole nother technology to master. And kind of like that's what we're talking when I was back in Oklahoma. We floated the river that I grew up on, and that's like I came up growing guerrilla style just back off in the river bottoms, and that was like thought of ourselves as growers, but looking back, like we didn't do shit. We went and threw a seed and like came back 5 months later to see if it was ready to harvest. Like we're growers. We were harvesters basically. Didn't do anything.
Guerrilla grow had a lot different meaning, and it does today back then, I guess.
No, yeah.
That's cool though, man.
It's funny. We'd take like a camping float trip early in the spring and go way up the river and float back down to my mom's place where we were living and plant seeds all the way down, and then do the same thing like in October, and come back and go do a camping trip in October and just check all of the spots that we remembered planting. And it was like 1 out of 15 plants maybe would have made it to harvest. Just like animals or police or whatever. Cannabis. Yeah, no, 100%. It was like play the numbers game. We started, like a few hundred seeds we collected, like brickweed seeds from over the winter. We started, and we went out and shotgun planted them all over the place. And like the last, we were trying to raise money for our move to Alaska. My brother and I, like, I'll never forget, like we beached out on the river in front of my mom's house in a 16-foot aluminum canoe full to the fucking gunnels of weed, whole canoe full of weed. We had hung up in trees all over Tulsa drying for 2 weeks. It was wild times.
Sounds fun.
But yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen a canoe full of weed.
Wow.
Did you have it like vacuum sealed, or did it just stink?
No, it was plants. We just like floated down. Right, they were we were just like harvesting, throwing whole plants in the canoe, and worked our way down the river. And thankfully, there was like, we didn't come cross paths with anyone else. It was late in the season, so there was like not tourists or anything on the river, or it would have been an awkward conversation to be had. But yeah, we rolled the dice, just put it under a tarp in the back of a pickup, and drove it up to Tulsa. We're staying with my grandmother before we left, and hung it up in trees in her front yard in downtown Tulsa. And you could smell it for like 3 fucking blocks away.
Oh my god!
And just you couldn't see it though. Like walk up to the tree and you stand in the tree. It was such a big oak tree. You know, it was way up in the top, and like you couldn't see it when we were looking for it. We climbed up there at night with headlamps on and cut it down. Man,
Dude,
and now and that drives me nuts. Like now, it's like go back to Tulsa and there's a dispensary on every corner. It's like times have changed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I wonder what like a canoe full of weed like wouldn't even like raise an eyebrow in Tulsa.
No, people would just be cheering. Yeah,
like we've seen it before.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Canoe full of mints, fucking hacker. They just talk shit about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Times have definitely changed, though, man. You talk about dispensaries in every corner. Like, I was fishing at a spot the other day, and a cop rolled up on me, and I had a joint in my mouth, and he just didn't even care. He's like, just carry on. You know what I mean? Just checking to see what the hell's going on. But like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you might have fucking busted my balls and arrested me for it.
Definitely. And that's the trade-off. Yeah, it's like complain about the commercial side of it's not super fair, but man, being able to
not go to jail,
sleep at night with plants growing in the basement, that's priceless.
Like, we all knew this would happen, really. Like I remember like talking with my buddies in high school, like, man, it's going to be legal. Can you imagine like when it is, it's going to be like Marlboro Greens, right? You're going to be able to go to the gas station and buy a pack of joints from Marlboro. Like they already bought up all the fields, man. Like I remember saying it to my stoner friends, all the conspiracy theories of like 2000. But it's like it's that, but not quite that yet. I mean,
I think with everybody wants federal legalization, and I think that if we do end up going federally legal, that's what you'll see is that type of bullshit. The more I think about it, I'm not sure we really want it federally legal. I'd like it just to the point where people could bank and not have to worry about it. You know, the feds have pretty much already said that they're leaving it up to the states. But the problem with that is you have so many fucked up states that are making all these crazy laws. You know, it's like if I want to brew beer, which is far more dangerous than cannabis, I can do that. Right. But like it's just completely overregulated, really.
Yeah, and exactly that was the point of why I brought up that comic earlier and totally derailed our discussion with like story time. Was like that was the exact point, is that it's overregulated. It should be treated just like coffee. Like the working class people can figure this shit out. Like,
you want to know why it's not? It's because somebody won't. The right hands aren't being greased. Like when legalization happened here in Mass, it was years before dispensaries and stuff started popping up because they had to make sure that, you know, fucking Bill and Sally were getting their cut first, right? It's like anything. It's like legal gambling. Gambling just went legal in Mass. It took forever. Why? Because they want to make sure the right palms are being greased. It's the same thing with anything. It's just if they see it, and they'll use the excuse of it being dangerous to stall things. Oh, it's a dangerous drug, and this can hurt people. It's a gateway drug. But in all actuality, it's
not dangerous. It's literally as dangerous as coffee. Like it's kind of
coffee is way more dangerous. You could have fucking 5 cups of coffee and have a heart attack. I smoke 5 joints. I'm gonna pass out.
Man, you have a great point right there. I mean, you know, shit. I wonder how many deaths there are a year from caffeine.
That's by coffee, or just by caffeine.
It's caffeine, yeah. If we
caffeine
just say caffeine
is far more dangerous than THC.
Yeah, people take like
not
caffeine
even close
pills and shit. I mean,
yeah, and you can buy that legally, like all these energy drinks. Like, dude, I, you know what I mean? Like, there's kids dying every day because they're doing damage to their adrenal system drinking these fucking energy drinks.
Man.
Yeah, every summer, you hear about kids, like high school kids dying at like sports camp or whatever because they're all cranked up on energy drinks and their heart explodes.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
That's yeah.
Yeah, but not once has anyone ever, overdosed on weed, cannabis.
There was some bullshit being passed around last year about the first confirmed overdose on THC.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't believe it either, but it was turned out to be bullshit. But yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear about it, but
yeah. Like, there's no such thing as a lethal dose of THC as far as I'm concerned. It's funny too. Like you hear about people like, oh, my dog got into my edibles, and I'm bringing him to the vet. Dude, save your fucking $150. The vet can't do shit.
Let him sleep it off.
Let him just
really
chill
high.
and get high. You know what I mean? Like that's it. He's gonna be.
You're like, what a horrible experience for a dog. Not only to be high and not know what's going on, but then to be brought to the vet while it's happening.
I know.
Worst place.
Most dogs I've seen like that get into edibles or whatever, they just look happy, man. They just got a smile on their face and they're just fucking chilling.
Yeah, right. Now, if they got into the chocolate, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And regular chocolate's not great for them, but it's Baker's chocolate that will really kill them. Like that's what's super, super dangerous. Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
92 reported deaths from caffeine, by the way, Cap.
What?
There you go.
Holy shit. We got a researcher on our staff. That's amazing. Which is, you know what? 92
a lot
more
than I thought. Yeah.
92
more
since
than
the
cannabis.
beginning of databases have begun. So
fucking A. That's unbelievable, actually. I mean, and talk about overregulation. It's just like, wow, like what that's a drug that's just like not regulated at all. Like just the market's just like, here, have it. Whatever you want, take it. There's no like, I mean, hardly any warnings on shit, nothing. I mean,
well, just like sugar.
It's in drinks.
Most addictive substances on the planet, right there.
Sugar. Exactly.
Said it makes more parts of your brain fire under like one of those not an MRI maybe, but it excites more parts of your brain than cocaine. Sugar does. So it's like more addictive like than cocaine. It's like crazy.
Refined sugar, man. It's just like, I mean, I'm hooked on it. Shit, I just bought a pack of Twin Snakes tonight.
I knew you were going to say some kind of gummy. I knew it.
I fucking love those things, man. I can't stop.
Twin Snakes are fire.
I mean, just well, what can I say? I mean, I'm hooked on sugar as much as anyone else, man. But
no, I'm right there with you. I know it's bad.
At least I can recognize, it is a drug, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So moderation, but not with cannabis. I'm taking another puff here.
Speaking of cannabis, tell us about some of your upcoming projects. You said you have a whole bunch coming down.
Yeah, no. So I got this deal with the Purple Capers, a breeder out of San Francisco, the Bay Area, and gonna do a seed production run with him. And he's like, man, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing it for forever. He's a super experienced, knowledgeable breeder. Works with a lot of universities in California with their hemp programs, and so I like breeding is something that I have dabbled in, and I've made a few crosses here and there and some reversals just for my own entertainment, basically. But I do want to get more serious about it, and he's like the best mentor I could ask for the process. So he's going to walk me through the process and his SOPs and selecting process and the whole process of breeding, and be able to work with him to bring some of the alien technology is the like kind of his flagship strain that he did all of his breeding with starting in the late 2000s. And it's just like a really solid varietal. So using that to make a few crosses and a back cross to do some previously unreleased seeds of that is clone form. And yeah, so that's going to be, I guess I haven't decided if I'm going to get more lights up or kick some of the plants I have now in the room out to make room. It's always a heartbreaking process killing plants off, but sometimes you got to do it. And
more tents or less plants.
Yeah, there you go.
Or lights in general, like you said.
Yeah, and I'm running out of amps, so I may have to get rid of some plants on the deal. And and then we got partnered up with Dr. Zymes to do basically transitional learn, or like an educational module series online for people that want to transition for conventional farming practices, gardening practices, to a more no-till organic approach, and not really
Nice.
focusing on one practice or methodology specifically, but like kind of how I incorporate like a hodgepodge mix match of different no-till, Korean natural farming, modern natural farming, Jadam, hugelkultur, sub-irrigation. So I like to pick and choose what works for me personally, and instead of really committing wholeheartedly to one practice. It's like, I know some people that are no-till, and they consider anything but water a violation of that kind of practice. So if your goal is to like really build this comprehensive, complex, dynamic living environment that you only have to keep water in. There's some people who want to do organic in bags and then use ferments and do where you're constantly mixing, making ferments is very rewarding in itself. Just the whole collection process, watching it happen, and then being able to use things that you have collected, foraged for, instead of buying fertilizer. So that's like a total approach that people want to take, and like grow in basically a soilless media or a smaller container that needs to be fed, so they can do this themselves. And I love fermenting and putrefaction and composting and vermicomposting, and I don't think that I would be able to pick one to stick with exclusively. So I think that combining basically the best parts of all of these different practices into one kind of one unique approach, I guess, and then being able to apply that with a high rate of success coming from synthetics or conventional farming gardening practices. So I think people are they hear living soil and think that they're going to have to immediately understand all of the microbiology and the chemistry at work in the soil. And there's ways to approach it where you can set yourself up for success by following some tried and true recipes and practice and get yourself going, and then you just kind of want to learn more about the processes that are going on under the soil. So I think that's the way it worked for me anyway. I grew lots of different bottle brands over the years, and then as I transitioned into organic, I wanted to go as organic as possible, and that kind of led me to the no-till living soil approach, and then also being able to add the microbiology that you get from a lot of the modern natural farming and Jadam practices is huge as well. So I think that, as you are doing all these things, you can just go follow the recipes and have successful harvest time after time, just like you would with a synthetic nutrient bottle. There's at this point, and enough people have the information out there, there's feeding schedules for ferments and dry amendments, whatever style you want. There's a recipe you can follow. So you don't have to learn it, but I feel like people that are passionate about it and go that far, it's inevitable that they dive even further into it. And so, yeah, that's just the way, like I said, the way I kind of was drawn into it slowly. And then I wanted to, try to understand as much of the process under the soil as I did, because I could, see what was going on with the plant above the soil. So being able to match that and anticipate what is going to happen next in that soil layer in your beds is huge, and then be able to kind of stay ahead of what the nutritional demands, especially for organic practices. If you're doing dry amendments, a lot of the times it can take a bit of time for nutrients to become available for the plant. So coming from synthetic, where if you see some sort of deficiency, you can feed that, and it's in the plant immediately, addressing that issue. Whereas the organic stuff is more of in 2 weeks, what's going to be going on? I need to start planning on what the soil, what stage of life is going to be in 2 weeks, and start applying stuff then if you're going to be applying stuff. So it's just a different approach. And like I said, it's what I'm going to try to do is make it as easy to approach that and make that transition as possible for people who want to try to make the switch.
Dude, awesome. I mean, really, I brought up your page, by the way, just while you were talking, just to show people, man, serious about his organics. I mean,
that's
look
one
at
of my
that
favorite
bed.
pictures.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I mean,
So pretty.
that is a bed that is just like calling to me. It looks like
Don't
something
you want to
out of...
like take a nap? I want to like lay down and take a nap there.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, it's a nice soil.
I want to shrink down and frolic around in that patch of greenery like a little woodland creature, and then take a nap under that big mushroom there in the middle.
That was a big one.
What kind of mushrooms are those?
Now those were wine caps.
Pretty.
It's a company called Mycophyte Solutions. I got the bag of inoculated wood chips, and I spread it around and then put my woody mulch on top of that. And man,
Are they edible or medicinal?
No, those are just like choice edible. The wine caps. Yeah,
I've never heard of them. Pretty cool looking.
Yeah, they look great. And
they're just huge.
Cover crop. I mean, you got like nitrogen fixers. You got that's just organics set up for success. I mean, I think you mentioned a few things when you were talking that just, I mean, resonated with me. Like, in particular, you have to think ahead a little bit, but it's not like the hardest thing in the world to know that, like, well, if I flipped a flower a week ago, my plant's definitely going to be needing some more phosphorus, like, in right now, basically. Like,
yeah.
But you have to think, like, you have to know that 2 weeks ago. So just understanding the life cycle of the plant is like a big component in being a successful organic gardener, I think.
Definitely. It's a huge part of it.
Being observant, all that stuff, man. But yeah, dude, so this is just on another level though. That bed is beautiful.
Is that like misters you have set up there, or is that for a trellis net?
That's just for the trellis. The PVC is for the trellis. I'm using blue mat, the drippers, the trope.
Yeah, those are probably your best thing you could use for no-till.
Can you see them here? Is this the?
Just having to. They're not in the bed right now. I took it out whenever after I harvested.
Gotcha.
Actually, took all of the mulch, the woody mulch off, and like vacuumed. I was having a pill bug explosion, and tried to get rid of a bunch of those little devils.
Pill bugs, man. They end up in every bed I ever have, dude. We're like indoors or out. It's just like little devils. Man, I watched this, right? So this was on your page, and definitely great tip. Let me see if I can bring the audio in with this, because man, it's worth hearing.
Process here after the plants have been hanging here for about 16 days whole. I go into the tote. So I bust up a whole plant, limb it out, and this is the white widow. So it goes into the tote for an additional 7 to 8 days.
Oh, what happened?
Okay, so this is the benefit of drying at 60-60 is that is the optimal storage and curing temperature. So this is a seamless transition from drying to beginning the curing process. So this is 60-60 here, harvested on the 4th of April. And this will be coming off of the limbs into jars here very soon. So it's dried, totally dry, smooth smoke. And just the beginning of the cure process, still on the branches. So like I said, I'll rotate this pile. It's a pretty decent stack here. It's definitely going to be a pound and a half anyway. Rotate that a couple of times every other day or so, and then we'll go in jars soon. Same thing with the purple white widow.
Oh, I think we got it. But dude,
can't believe I got it. Didn't keep a cutting of that purple white widow. It's so much better than the other one, but
hurts.
I haven't cutting the
sometimes,
other one.
you
I
know?
was like, nah, I don't even want to grow you. It's out of spite now.
Yeah, man,
Aw.
it's nice to see somebody preach the 60-60 because I've been saying it for years. If you can, leave your plants in there almost indefinitely in the right environment and get to them when you're
Yeah.
ready,
Yeah,
and they're
Yeah.
gonna just cure on the vine in the fucking room.
100%.
That's why we preach this so much. That's you're just setting yourself up for success. That's exactly the way I do it, man. It looks fucking perfect.
Totes and all, dude. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
really, that's like the just a perfect visual to show how it's done. I mean, the way you buck the branches just to like a single branch and lay them in there. I mean, you got a lot of totes, so you probably went to Target or whatever and just bought a bunch at once.
Oh, yeah.
I collect them, but I usually get the big ones, and I will put like parchment paper in between layers too sometimes, so like I can fit more than one strain in. Probably not ideal. I guess I'd rather do it like you.
No, I'm sure the parchment paper is fine. I do like I'm very particular about drying though, and I think that it's frustrating people smoking flower after it's been hanging for 5 or 6 days, and then they're confused as to why it doesn't taste. It has no taste and flavor, and it's just I hate to see people spend so much time and effort, and energy, and then ruin it right there at the end. Impatience and just it makes it such a more pleasurable experience doing it low and slow and taking your time, let it dry.
Yeah, you can ruin the best
Right.
herb in the world drying it, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Well, that was just really well explained too, man. I mean, really, your page is great. I learn a lot from listening to you. It's literally impossible to get into everything that this man knows in like an hour and a half of discussion. But like, you guys are into organics. If you're into outdoor gardening, if you're into, like you said, hugel culture, you said jadam, you said, man, all these key words that like, I'm sure a lot of people got their eyes lit up, ears perked
Good.
up when they heard him. So go check you out. It's all on your page.
It's a series, you said?
That.
It's a series
Yeah,
with
so,
Dr. Syme?
Yeah, I just partnered up the Amazing Dr. Zymes, and we're doing my website's under construction now. It should be up here in the next 2 weeks or so, and we'll start releasing information about that upcoming series through the website. But I'll be posting updates on my Instagram and the Twitter. So yeah,
Exciting.
definitely I appreciate it. Yeah, give me a follow
cool,
up,
man.
Zymes is a great product too.
Yes.
That's
Right.
one that's always in
love.
my arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not worked with a few companies because I just don't agree with their ethics and their business morality, and it was a pleasure to be able to work with somebody that I've not. It's like a product I've used for years, so it's not like it's something I'm having to bite my lip and say I approve of it. It's a great, like you said, it's a great product. I've used it for years. They like embody my philosophy on sustainability and organic production. Great group of people that I've been working with so far. So it's nice to be able to find a company that, like you said, in this day and age and the industry, to find a company that does stand for something and is making the effort to do the right thing. So yeah, super excited about that.
Right on.
Yeah, congrats on your partnership with them because
Yeah.
they are great. It's like
I
standard
appreciate it.
foundational stuff for growers. So
Definitely.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And since it is an enzyme-based product, the bugs can't get immune to it. Like, it's a good idea to alternate between what you're using, but Zymes is a great product. Always keep it in your arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in rotation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can, use it all the way till harvest. Though
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
gonna
be
actually.
careful.
I had
Be
to.
careful. I would be careful.
Be careful.
You can. It's not like going
Use
to
your
leave
judgment. Yeah.
anything on. Like, I guess it's not going to leave anything on the buds that's going to kill you when you smoke it. Put it that way. Or
Fingers crossed. Anyway, right?
Just it. No, it's if you have to, you can. You really can. They say that. I know. So it's. Just be careful with all things. But yeah, man. I don't know what else you got going on. Anything more? You were talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
He's got shows coming, and he's breeding, and he's like, what else do you want from the guy cow? He's doing it all.
So right before this started, I was trying to get into the. I've been making sprouted seed ferments that I'm trying to get shelf stable, and find a way to get that past the Oregon Department of Agriculture. So I've been kind of doing a little product research, trying to get something approved for the shelves, and if I can get it past the ODA, and that I think that's the biggest agricultural hurdle on the West Coast. So I've got a fermented seed product that hopefully I'll be bringing to the shelf soon, and it's just got kind of put on the back burner here. Everything got a little crazy, but it's still something in the works. So that's it, and I tap out. That's all I can handle. Yeah, that's the.
How did you decide to do that?
Well, I've been using sprouted seed teas for quite some time. I think that they're a great synthetic PGR alternative. So you have all of these plant growth hormones readily available in super high concentrations in the sprouted seeds. The only issue I ever had with that is you need to use them, or for sprouted seed teas, you want to use them fresh. But being able to ferment, I was thinking I like to have it available and ready to use instead of planning and something one less thing to plan 7 days in advance to use, basically, is all I was eliminating. So being able to have the benefits in the hormone enzymes, there's depending on what seed you're using to sprout, there's a lot of different benefits that can come with that. And it's so basically different seeds throughout the stages of the plant's life. You want to transition alfalfa, buckwheat, corn, lentils are all great, and just being able to have a shelf stable product. There's not really one on the market, so it's kind of a niche I was looking to fill, and it's like,
that's
if I can ever get it together and packaged and shelf stable. It's going to have to end up being refrigerated. I think bottom line is because of the fermentation. It's not super happy hanging out at room temperature unsealed. So trying to figure that out. But it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, right.
All good problems to have.
And I think that's something I did see on your page too. Like that, one of the things I like is that you mentioned it's like an organic PGR.
Yeah.
There are those things. I mean, because really, PGRs, when they developed in a lab, were just trying to mimic something they already found in nature, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with Clonex and the synthetic rooting hormones. It's all synthesized from the rooting hormones that naturally occur in the cannabis plant already. So any synthetic hormone of any kind, you can find it organically and do it yourself. Yeah, that's exactly right.
There's a few of them though that are terrible for you, like paclobutyrol. You see in a lot of these bud hardeners and shit like that. So that's where people hear PGRs and they're like, "Oh, PGRs are bad." They're not. These, and not every synthetic PGR is bad. It's the problem is that PGRs themselves are into their own classification, and when it gets mucked up, kelp has PGRs in it that are great for cannabis. So exactly. You just have to educate yourself. It's not just naturally occurring PGRs are great for the plant and great for it, and not going to harm you in any way.
I think you meant, kelp, coconut water. Would you consider aloe a PGR?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. I think you said alfalfa for sure would be a PGR. I don't know, what would be some others? Corn
is a good one.
Corn.
Yeah, I've used sprouted corn seed teas from corn. I haven't done it in a while, but it's something I used to do a lot, actually.
That's cool, man.
Barley
too, huh?
Barley's a great one. Yeah, barley's the one that is actually has the most commercial application potential because it can be used as a fungal suppressant. One of the enzymes that it has a high concentration of chitinase is like a fungal suppressant, and so it's great for fusarium and other kind of fungal rot and fungal root issues. So it's got a huge potential for like off-season soil drench for commercial agriculture application.
That's so crazy, man. Like
Amazing.
it is amazing. Like just yet another connection between the world of brewing and the world of growing.
Yeah,
because malted barley, right? That's really what we're talking about. Sprouted
yep.
seeds is just, malted barley is the same thing.
Yep.
Just partially sprouted. That's when all the enzymes, all the good stuff, like come into that seed. Something to it, and that's when you brew with that stuff to release the flavor, to release all that good stuff into a beer. I mean, that's every brewer knows that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, when you ferment.
Man.
That's when you ferment it, or you would use it fresh. Is that when it's sprouted and everything's at its highest concentration? Yeah, no, seeds are mighty.
That is
mighty
so
little
cool,
things,
man. Oh. It's just, I don't know. I work in a brewery, so I see all this crossover. Nice. Literally everything you can used in a brewery is also applicable in your garden. It's amazing. Could do, just have a homestead, do both, a little farming,
absolutely,
little brewing, little weed gardening.
There you go.
Got it all. Got the life.
Got
the life. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, you like growing autos some. Is that a thing? Like, you're the auto flower cup winner. You're going to keep doing it?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I think that there's definitely a place for them in the garden. I'd still grow a lot of photo period, and I've just been starting the autos at the same time I start my photo periods. And basically by the time the photo periods are done vegging, the autos are ready to harvest and then transition the photo periods into flower.
Oh, damn,
and
you go for a long veg.
Bumper crop. Yeah. Yeah, I do. In the bed, I've been growing some pretty silly big plants, and I end up tending to veg for, it'll be 3 months from popping seed before I switch to flower a lot of time. Yeah. So that's time to,
right. Instead.
Oh
well, I just got like 6.5 pounds out of the 4x8 this last run, and I'm going to try to hit 8. I'm putting some side screens on the interior of it that faces the inside of the room. I'm going to try to hit 8 in the 4x8 this round.
My goodness. Best of luck to you, sir.
Yeah, that's some great organic growing. I think that's also, those LEDs you're using, some high test lights, man.
Yeah, and I've run CO2.
Those things. Oh, the CO2.
I do run. I only run it for like 3.5, 4 weeks, maybe though. Like week 2 into week 2 through week 6. And then I don't run it whenever they're ripening at all, and don't usually run it at all the first through stretch. I don't.
All right,
but it seems like that it really helps them fucking gobble up that weight right through that into week 2 through into week 6. Man, they really respond well.
2 through 6 of flower be prime time for pushing.
I've just never seen it. Yeah, a lot of people start running CO2 at the beginning of flower, and I haven't really noticed anything. I haven't measured it. It's not a scientific observation, just kind of a casual observation that I haven't noticed the dramatic difference running CO2 through stretch as opposed to starting at the end of week 2. So I don't run it the first 2 weeks of flower.
Have you ever tried running it like maybe a couple weeks later and running it till the end of flower? Like it's like 4 through 8 instead of 2 through 6?
No.
Well, the only reason I ask is because in my experience, like the times I've run CO2 is what I've personally seen is the plants don't seem to like it when you take it away from them after they've been used to it and getting accustomed to it. Which just me, I'm just saying. I bet you could probably hit that number you were looking for if you changed.
I may run it all the way through. Yeah, I may run it all the way through
from 4 to 8, maybe. I'd be interested to see, because anytime I've run CO2, that's the one thing I've noticed. Like, tank runs out, the plants look like shit, and they don't seem to like it because they're used to. Plus, I mean, with the higher feeds or whatever too, like depending on how hot your soil is, they're not going to utilize as much without that CO2. I'd be interested to see how that would work out for you.
Yeah, I'll run it all the way through the end.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You don't see a lot of
ton.
organic growers run CO2. That's interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's just supplemental, really, because I have. It's like just with the tanks off, and it usually reads right in this between 600 and 700 ppms in the room because of all of the fungal activity in the big bed. It bumps it up from 400s like atmospheric average. It bumps it up a couple hundred ppm just for the fungal. So it's just like a supplemental. Even when I shut off the tanks, it doesn't usually drop below 600, but I'm going to leave it. I'll leave it cranked up through the end.
That's wild.
Yeah. What do you like to put it at? Like
that kind of ambient CO2 of like 6.
Yeah, 700, right.
800. Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's just so that the wine caps, that was the second layer of woody mulch. So there's one under that. So I just put the fifth and final. Or I will be putting the fifth and final woody mulch layer down this time. So there's basically there's 4 whole layers under that of basically mycelium mats in that fungal growth. So
wow.
And that was the other thing. Like I do soil testing after harvest, and I've been nitrogen deficient because of the bacteria tying up nitrogen, digesting that first layer or all the woody mulch, but. The first layer, the bed's coming up. It's 2.5 years old now, so the first layer of woody mulch has finally been digested and released back into the soil. So the nitrogen deficiency has gone away without me adding any kind of blood meal or anything, any nitrogen into it, just because of that. Then that's the timing now. So I had to this last run, I had to supplement salmon fish aminos for some nitrogen because the levels were low. But now for the next 2.5 or 3 years or so, I'll have a steadily slow release nitrogen back into the soil from that woody mulch being digested layer by layer.
That's so cool.
Yeah, dude.
It's like a long-term relationship with your soil. Really. Like that takes commitment and time and planning and communication. Like
yeah, it'll just get better and better over the next couple of years.
So would you call that like indoor hugel culture a little bit?
No, it's like usually more soil horizon than hugel culture. Just kind of trying to create those horizons.
But I did because it's wood. I don't know. That's
for sure.
Like it's just thinking along those lines. Like it's gonna add the same things that a rotting tree at the bottom of your soil
principle.
would. Yeah. But like, dude, you ever think of just putting that on the bottom of your bed, like a couple?
Tree.
Couple logs.
You're just gonna go get a tree.
Yeah, no. There's a couple of people I follow. I've seen do that in 4x4 beds inside, and just doing hugel beds on the inside. And I was going to that. I'm building 2 4x4 sub irrigated planters right now, or I would have done. I was leaving the hugel culture beds, but I'm going to do the sub irrigated planters this next round. I think that the soil moisture consistency was like the limiting factor on the big bed. I think having that consistent moisture and the blue mats have changed completely, made it better. But I think the wicking from the sub irrigated planter and be able totally self-regulate from a water supply will be a little bit better. So it'll be like another step in the right direction.
Mott's ears lit up. No mind.
You doing sips?
Yeah, dude, we all do auto pots. So like, how are you going to do that with a bed is my question.
Corrugated pipe and build a 4x4 bed out of wood and put a liner in it, and then put the 4-inch corrugated drainage pipe in the bottom.
So you have like
it's pretty easy to build a homemade earth box. He's just basically he's building an earth box basically.
So you got the 4-inch corrugated drainage pipe, and then right at the top of that you put an overflow out of the sidewall of the bed, and then you have a fill tube that goes down through the volume of the soil down into the pipe networks. And basically you have a dipstick into a PVC pipe or something to check the water level, or you just fill it up until it overflows out of the side valve, and you just have that reservoir that the roots grow down into, and it just wicks that water up through the volume of soil.
Man, that's so cool. Holy shit. I mean, never heard of that being done before, to be honest. Like, I always wondered. I mean,
that's what an earth box. I think it's what an earth box is. Basically, it's just the do-it-yourself version. It's
DIY on a much bigger scale and in a big bed. That's super cool, man.
Yeah, they think the gardens of Babylon were sub-irrigated planters from the way that they were described in books and stuff. So I think that's definitely not a new concept, but man, it's something I have not gotten to grow. A style I have not grown yet. I think it's really it's right up my alley. It seems like the logical next step. So I'm building 2 4x4s.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they grow monsters.
I think who was that? King Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh yeah.
He knew what he was doing, man. I wonder if he used autopots or he made his own SIP system. Nice. Dude, honestly, that's the way to go. I think the sub irrigated, we joke about it, butt chugging, ha ha ha. It's funny, but it's also like there is water under the ground. The plants are used to doing that. There's just something.
Oh yeah. It. No, I like to water in the trays on my 20-gallon bags in the room. I always water in the tray.
Make them reach for that water too. It's only going to stimulate root growth.
Well, that was like you just said. Even before I had my auto pots, it was just the nature of like kind of how I watered. I had fabric pots, and when you pour in from the top, oftentimes you get a little runoff, or it comes out the sides, and I had it in the tray, it would pool up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep it in the tray, it just kind of reabsorbs back into the soil if it's not oversaturated. And the plants just seem to love that. I don't know what it is, but
definitely
letting them do it sub irrigated end top a little bit, just works great. But man, SIP systems are cool.
Yeah.
So I will be following along that growing style, good sir. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for it.
Plus, incorporating all the organics with a little bit of old school growing techniques like the CO2. I don't think that's something just someone just coming into it.
No, yeah, might be a little.
You hear often it's not worth it. Don't add CO2. Ambience enough, but you might benefit from it.
Yeah, if you got the light intensity,
if you're pushing the light intensity,
that's going to say if you got the other factors, you got to have it almost, or you're hurting your plant. But that's a lot of times ends up not being. It's when you get to a point where it is the limiting factor, you should definitely run CO2. But a lot of new growers, that's not going to be the limiting factor out of the gate. You're not going to need to worry about supplemental CO2 for a couple harvests down the road once you get everything else dialed in, and then you can start using it to some benefit. But my buddy back in Oklahoma last year went for Christmas, and he was showed me into his garage this tent. He had a 3x3 tent, the tank in the tent with a slow fucking. He had the valve cracked on his tank. It's 30% increase on harvest weight, bro. Running that CO2, fucking tent open and not contained at all. It's cold and weak light. I'm dude.
That plant's not utilizing
come on,
any
man.
of that CO2, bro.
Not exactly.
No, it's just wafting out of his garage just as fast as it comes out of the tank. Yeah. So I think there's a place for it. But.
Cool, man. That might be something I start to tinker around with. I do think I have enough light.
100%. You'd kill it.
I think, I might say I might push back a little bit. Just I don't know. I see a lot of new growers getting they're getting the light that they need for their space. And if that is the case, and you put that light on 100%, I don't know, you might benefit from a little CO2.
Yeah, if you're going, man, like you said, as powerful as the lamps are now, it's just that was something I was guilty of off the right immediately transitioning from the high intensity lights is I was just under the assumption that the LEDs were going to be these weak lights you need to crank all the way up and slam down on the plants, and I just scorched my plant. It just roasted them, and still do, and still turned up the intensity too much, just because it's just still a subconscious, I guess, judgment on the LEDs not being powerful enough. But I'm getting better about it. But man, they're super intense.
Yeah,
powerful.
They just it's a little bit different, nutritional needs for the plant too. I think
it's comparable to a high level athlete, right? If you got somebody running incredibly fast for an incredibly long period of time, they're going to need some supplemental oxygen in order to keep their body performing at peak capacity. Same thing with plants. You're pushing those babies real hard with those lights and with your nutrition. They need some additional help in order to transpire correctly.
Definitely.
Oh, I agree. Oh, very well said.
So, Cap, you going to train some athletes?
I think I will. I mean, again, as with all this stuff, the crossover between brewing and growing means I have access to CO2. That's not a problem. You want tanks? I got CO2 tanks.
Meet me out back.
The CO2 plug.
Yeah, but somebody like you with plenty of lighting, dude, you'd crush it. But I see so many new growers, waste their money on whatever bags, even setups. If you're not pushing the PPFD, you don't even bother. That plant's not going to utilize extra CO2 unless it has enough light to do so. I think that's a common mistake that a lot of people make. So if you're dialed in, and it will be your yield limiting factor. If you got everything else dialed in, right, that will be your yield limiting factor. So
and I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of people do find themselves. If they they follow along to the podcast, the forums, they get the light that they should for their space, they have all the equipment that they need, and they're kind of at that point where it's just all right, CO2 now. Really, it's the final frontier for a lot of tent pirates. I don't think any of us really ever thought about it.
Have you
I think it's going to be a huge
game
game changer for you, dude, because you're in an attic where ambient CO2 is lower than it normally is in the rest of the house. I think it's going to be huge for you. I am actually excited to see what you do with it.
Do it, yeah.
I'm inspired to now, for real. So I think I will. But I don't want to keep you too long, my friend. And I do appreciate your time and want to get things wrapped up here. So
definitely.
Do you want to anything you want to say goodbye to the audience about before we get going?
First of all, tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, that of course.
Yeah, so I'm at Flora Farm on Instagram and Twitter. I have florofarm.com on the World Wide Webs, and a YouTube channel that's been pretty inactive, but that's gearing up along with this upcoming educational series. So yeah, track me down on the Soch. Give me a follow. I appreciate it. I've got a lot of fun stuff coming up here in the near future, so it'll be a good time to join along.
Exciting.
That's awesome. And sub-irrigated bed. Beautiful bed.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yep, sub. I'll be building that from scratch, so follow along with that. And you're curious, do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
And, a lot of great info. Like I said, it's impossible to touch on all the stuff that you get into. But you do your page in and of itself is this great knowledge base. I mean, you know a lot about plants, dude. So my hat's off to you, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. No, thanks for having me on. It's something I'm passionate about and enjoy talking about the plant. So yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me on. We touched all the important things. We talked about a 16-foot canoe full of weeds. So
yeah,
call it a win.
The most important thing. I have a new life goal now. So
good, yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Inspiring.
There we go. It was all mids though. Fuck it.
All right. Adjusted life goal.
That's definitely the title of the episode, by the way. So sneak peek, by the way. Well, thank you, man. And welcome back anytime you got anything cool going on. Just hit me up, let me know. And come back, talk about it. Even if it's just to pop in for 15 minutes on an episode.
Definitely. I'll take you up on that sometime.
You are part of the fam, my friend. So, yeah, thanks again. And to the audience, we appreciate you guys. Monster G3, you know I love you.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
And don't get caught.
Of all things.